Hello.
Hi, Dr. Tran.
Hi. Happy Thursday.
Yes, almost here.
Yes, seriously. The staff have tomorrow off for Good Friday. We decided
Oh, good.
tomorrow is a good day to just chill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you guys doing anything this weekend?
Decorating Easter eggs tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, we're decorating Easter eggs.
Sweet.
So
Yes. I know.
yeah, we usually don't do that because we have our own chickens, and the dye
wow.
work very well on because they're brown eggs, and so the Easter egg doesn't really work on those. So I actually purchased regular eggs for the dyeing process.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. I totally get that. I know.
Yeah.
Haley, we're starting to get those plastic eggs, and we're gonna kind of give her like a little egg hunt around the house. So yeah.
I know you can't do it outside.
I know. We'll have to do it, and also, I mean, we'll do it inside, but Saturday is our last like nice day. I think it's supposed to snow on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, hi Terry, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
In there. Yes, thanks for joining us. We will anxiously wait. Noah's got some more good stuff ready for us in a little bit here. So, all right. Patrick is in the house. We got Stephanie here. What were you going to say, Terry?
Oh, just that I had, I don't know why I never thought of it before, but when he did the crock pot chicken, and then you can use it for different recipes throughout the week. So
yes.
Yeah. So I did that, and it's worked out really well.
Oh yeah, it turned out great. Yeah, Nicole posted a great picture from the recipes that we just talked about last week. So, hey Margaret, how's it going?
Good.
You hanging in there?
I'm trying in my bubble.
We all have a bubble, Margaret. But it's all good. It's all good. So, all right. Wow. Gosh, I can't believe it's already Thursday. It's crazy. So, Patrick, you guys got anything going on for this weekend?
No, nothing we've talked about.
Yes.
Nothing different. There's a lot of little projects around the house.
Yes.
So yeah. We'll be doing that.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be just kind of like another relaxing weekend before we hunker down. Maybe it won't be so bad on Sunday as far as the snow. So, oops, I need to send Noah the Zoom, of course, which is why he's not quite here yet. That's my fault here. So, here we go. All right. Okay. There we go. Sorry, Noah. That was my fault. I totally forgot to give you the code.
That is A-okay. We are all set up.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, we are anxiously excited to see what you're cooking up for us today. So just kind of wanted to give another introduction for those of you guys who are new, especially in Facebook land. So I am Dr. Angela, Denver's weight loss expert from Medfa Medical Weight Loss, and we have been hosting the Healthier Than Ever Masterclass. This is week 2 now, and our job is to keep you guys healthy, especially during these times that we are at stay at home. But just because we're staying at home doesn't mean that we can't keep up with our health, which is very important. So I'm going to introduce Noah, our expert registered dietitian, who is going to give us some cooking hacks and really teach us, hey, we actually can cook good and tasty, healthy food, even with limited options at the grocery store. So, all right, Noah, let's take us into your kitchen today.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Super stoked to have everybody here. So last week we did kind of creating staples, right? We have this idea of how do we create something that we can do sustainably for a long period of time. So, and it was really bent around more of maybe a lunch meal prep or even used possibly for dinner. So today I wanted to bring that same concept of creating staples to breakfast, essentially. So breakfast has a lot of different components to it. It has a lot of different protein options, a lot of different fat options, a lot of different carb options. So I just wanted to go through a couple today, a couple that are my favorite. So I kind of wanted to reiterate what we did last week in the idea of how we're building a healthy, kind of well-rounded, balanced plate, right? And so last week we have kind of a saying that was pick your protein, choose your carb, and find your fat. So going back to picking our protein, for breakfast, specifically for today, we're gonna use as our protein sources. We're gonna use eggs and egg whites. We're going to use protein powder, whey concentrate isolate. We are also going to use some turkey bacon to add a little extra protein, and some Greek yogurt also as a protein. So going back to the philosophy of choosing your carb, we're going to pair some carbs here as well. So we're going to do, our carbs are going to be oats, berries, and then other fruit options. And then I think it's really important to do this again with finding your fat. When we looked at finding our fat for, seeing that protein is coupled with fat, that's the same thing with breakfast. So like eggs already contain fat, so we need to take that into consideration. Cheese that we might use contains fat, the milk that we're using might contain fat, and then the yogurt also might contain fat. So we'll go a little bit deeper in each recipe and talk about those. But does anyone have any questions on that concept of picking your protein, choosing your carb, or finding your fat? Nothing? I also have the Facebook Live pulled up as well. So if you ask any questions on the Facebook Live, I will see them as well. So it might take me a minute to pay attention to it, but feel free to ask questions on the Facebook Live if you're on there as well. All right, so today we're gonna go ahead and start with kind of a staple that I love to use. It's quick, it's easy. When we think about breakfast and breakfast staples, it's typically not like a sit-down 5-course meal, right? It's typically I need to get food and I need to get out quick. Like that's typically a lot of people's lifestyle. They are on their way to work, typically, not in this kind of crazy time right now, but so there's not a whole lot of time. So I took that into consideration when creating these staples. And one of them was, it's a Southwest spin on an egg muffin. So I'm sure you've seen the egg muffins. They're now like at Starbucks. They have some in the freezer section of King Soopers. They're pretty common now. So I took my own spin on it and did a Southwest version. These essentially look like so. So essentially we're gonna break it down, right? We're gonna talk about the egg muffins first. For the egg muffins, what I did was I pre-prepared them. It would have been kind of a long process if we didn't do that. I used 6 whole eggs, some egg whites, add a little extra protein. And then it's really simple, right? I did some Frank's Red Hot for some spices and then some jalapenos. I'm sorry, diced green chilies actually. I threw in 4 pieces of turkey bacon. So with that, all those ingredients, when we break them down, the eggs as a whole are gonna have fat in them already. So we can already say we found our fat and we don't have to include any more. We're getting some residual fat from the turkey bacon. So fat's pretty much covered, right? Protein is also covered within the turkey bacon and within the eggs. So our protein's good. However, we haven't chosen our carb yet. So with this meal, the idea is you have this pre-prepped, right? You have this ready first thing in the morning. You go to your fridge, you pull it out, it's grab and go. So I like to have the carb that is included with that. So I do 2 cuties with it. So this meal, in and of itself, we're gonna break it down real quick. I actually wrote down some of the macros. I don't think it's the most important concept, but it's the idea that we're trying to follow a program and stay on track. So with the egg muffins and the cuties, for this meal, 3 egg muffins and 2 cuties, it's about 260 calories with 21 grams protein, 16 carbohydrates, and 11 fat. I got quite a few requests for some of the recipes for this specifically, so I am going to provide those throughout the week, I'm going to kind of scatter them out so that you have access to these recipes. Don't have to take, vigorous notes on the exact measurements of anything. I will provide you with some recipes for them. So with that being said, I mean, it's a pretty well-balanced meal. It doesn't have a lot of vegetables, so I do want to cue you into that. So when you're thinking about the rest of your day, you might want to consider, having some vegetables as snacks, having, a salad for lunch, getting your vegetable requirements in, throughout the rest of the day, just taking that into consideration. When you're building these breakfasts, do they contain, my calorie goal, my macronutrient goal of protein, fats, and carbs, but also do they have my vegetable needs? Are they meeting that? So I would say definitely take that into consideration. And so with this meal specifically, you might want to eat a few more vegetables throughout the rest of the day for sure. So cool. Any questions on the egg muffins?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, particularly for breakfast, tend to be kind of nervous about carbs, and breakfast tends to be kind of a carb type of meal. So if you can give them kind of the grams that they should stick to when they're trying to make their breakfast.
Yeah, absolutely. So in reality, if we want to, follow, a specific calorie goal, if our goal is weight loss and we're sticking to that like 300 to 350 calorie range, somewhere in there, about 30% of those should come from carbohydrate. And so, yeah, you're right, Dr. Tran. The carbohydrate breakfast is very common. It's the coffee and donut. It's the, it's a pancakes and syrup. Like it's a very kind of traditional American carb heavy meal. And so, yeah, we're kind of switching those macros around. We're trying to really beef up that protein. We're really trying to provide our body with that nutrient to ensure that we are creating lean muscle tissue or preserving lean muscle tissue. Perfect. Yeah. So Stephanie mentioned, about 30 grams of carbohydrate would probably be that, range, 25 to 35, somewhere within that range would be a good range to do that. As you can see here, we're not really at that for this specific meal. We're not even at that calorie goal of 300 to 350. Not saying that that's the be all end all, but so our carbs are a little bit lower. It's about half of that, about 16 carbohydrates for 2. Now, if you want to get a little closer to that, I would say throwing in another cutie, having a bigger piece of fruit, a medium to large apple, medium to large banana. So you can definitely get to that. I just prefer this because it's just like, it's ready to go. We're rolling. We got nothing. We have nothing to worry about. We can eat this in the car. We can heat it up when we get to work. It's super easy, super convenient is the idea, right? Perfect. Any other questions, folks? Before we move on to the next? All right, cool. Let me go ahead and grab our next one. We're going to go over some protein overnight oats. Give me just a sec.
Something else that you guys notice is, again, especially for those of you who have problems with hunger throughout the day, it's really, really important to pump up that protein in your breakfast. Now, I know there's different philosophies around should you eat breakfast, should you not eat breakfast, and obviously there are studies that support both. I personally tend to follow in the I eat breakfast mode, simply because I have to perform. I have to be there for my patients. I also exercise, fairly decently with kickboxing and all that stuff. And in my personal and clinical opinion, I am not my best if I was fasting throughout that particular time frame. But there's pros and cons, but we are in the breakfast eating category team.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that it's a great idea to eat breakfast. I think that our body is definitely primed to eat breakfast in the morning, and it kind of sets up the day, right? It sets up the rest of the day and the tone of the day for eating patterns. So I agree with Dr. Tran. You can go both ways, and there's evidence to support both ways, but definitely in the camp of eating breakfast. It just leads, it's a behavior that's going to be positive. You're nourishing your body, you're fueling your body for the day. So it's more of a mindset and a behavior that I think is more beneficial than the actual consuming of calories. So I got a question from Penny Clark that asked, can the meatless sausage be used for in substitution for the turkey. Yes, absolutely. Do pay attention to the calories that are in some of the meatless options. They typically are a little bit higher in calories, but that's okay. So just pay attention to that, knowing that if you're going to substitute something, make it pretty similar. So with the turkey bacon at 30 to 50 calories per slice, we're looking at about 200 calories. So find that equivalent in a meatless version is my best answer to that. So perfect, guys. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our protein overnight oats. This one's really easy, another grab and go situation. I love to use a mason jar as my container for this. So the idea here is we're gonna use oatmeal, some berries. I like to use frozen berries. They just last longer. For some reason, every time I get fresh berries, mold is on them the next day. It's always a pain. So I really do prefer frozen. And just as a little caveat, frozen and fresh, they're actually exactly the same. The frozen berries, frozen fruit, frozen vegetables are frozen at their peak ripeness. So they are comparable in all realms of, compared to fresh. So I got about a half a cup of frozen berries. I'm gonna do about half a cup of the oats. So we'll actually build this one for you guys here. So it's really simple, really easy, but I want to demonstrate just how easy it is for like meal prep. You could meal prep breakfast for 5 days in less than 20 minutes. I'll give you a little insight. So I have my half cup. I actually just leave it in my oatmeal, my half cup scooper. Dump that in there. Try not to get it all over the place. So the other thing that we're going to use is a whey protein. I like to use Isopure. I took off the label so it just looks like a can, but this is whey protein. We're going to go ahead and do, of this, it's 2 scoops, but for pretty traditional whey proteins, because the scooper is smaller, it's 1 scoop. We want about 25 grams or about 120 to 160 calories from our protein source here. So here's 1, there's 2, perfect. We'll go ahead and set this off to the side here. All right, so I got a half a cup of berries already measured out just for the convenience here. I'm gonna do this over the sink because I know I'm gonna make a mess. Perfect. And so we have our matrix here, right? So we're gonna go over, we have our protein, so we have our protein, our carbohydrate, and our carbohydrate here all in one. Need a little fat. I like to do some almonds. I went with a Blue Diamond honey roasted. This is what we could find at the store, unfortunately, this round. But so I went with these guys. I got about 1/8 of a cup or about 10 of them in there. Dump them on in there. Perfect, it's ready to go. Now here comes the part where with this meal in and of itself, we're right around that 300 calorie range. So I would probably recommend if we're trying to go off and do a, down a calorie restriction or weight loss regimen, I would say mixing it with water would be best. However, you can do it with milk. I just want to bring this up. I like to use the Fairlife. Excuse me, let me get some water real quick. Excuse me, guys. So Fairlife milk, it's kind of a plug to them, but they actually have a milk that doesn't have the lactose, so it doesn't mess with people's GI system or belly as much. So we don't have that kind of, gassy or bloated feeling after drinking milk. So this is a great option for that. So I do about a cup. We'll just use this here.
Noah, can you talk just briefly? I know that a lot of people always get confused whether should I be buying skim milk, should I be buying whole fat milk, or just do like right in the middle 2%? Should I be doing almond milk? I think some people get a little bit confused on what milk to use.
Yeah, absolutely. So that really does depend. When we are looking at a kind of trying to control for calories, a great way to do that is to not drink a ton of those calories. So if we choose a lower fat percentage milk, typically we will see a lower calorie associated with that lower percent. So for instance, I've got, this guy is the fat-free version. And so for a whole cup, it's only 80 calories versus a full fat version would be close to 160 calories. So it really helps with that control for the fat content of it. But for this meal, we noticed that we had to add almonds. We had to find our fat with this one. So technically, you could do a full fat milk if you wanted to with this, and that would be your fat source as well. Or you can add a little crunch and avoid the fat. So again, we're going back to finding your fat. So it does depend. Let's see. I got a question here.
Can you write the name of that in the chat?
Fairlife?
Yeah, Fairlife milk.
Fairlife milk, yep. So It's awesome. It has a little bit of extra protein as well. Instead of that like 5 to 7 range for protein, it has 13 grams. It only has 6 grams of carbohydrate, so 50% less sugar. They're removing that lactose or that milk sugar, so that's where that's coming from. So it does have lower sugar content. And then this one has no fat in it. So it's really a great product. So as simple as that was, we have all of our stuff right here mixed up, and boom, throw that in the fridge, we're ready to go. And that's all it takes. So it's that easy. So you can have meal prep done super easy. So this can be like, for instance, taken to work, taken not in the car. Be careful with that one. It's a little messy. So trust me from experience. So.
And Stephanie brought up a great point. Ultra pasteurized takes most of the lactose out. Same with YQ yogurt. So I know that some of us are sensitive to lactose also. So that's a great option for people.
Yeah. So like, I'll just add a brief comment. Most people that have a distress from milk, it's the lactose, and they're not necessarily lactose intolerant, but as we age, we lose that. So this removes the lactose, so it doesn't have that distress factor. So unless you're allergic to milk, which is very rare, then you can still drink this milk. I love this milk, and I always thought I had a dairy or a milk allergy. So
thanks, Stephanie.
Awesome, thanks, Stephanie. Okay, so we went over the protein overnight oats. I just want to extend out, do we have any questions? I know there was a lot there. We went over milk. There's the concept of protein powder. There's the concept of, well, those are the big concepts. But is there anything that you guys have questions on regarding, the protein powder or any of the other ingredients that we were using today?
This particular recipe, do any of these? I've seen a lot of these overnight oat, prep recipes that you put in the fridge overnight. You just eat those cold.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. That floury texture to it, like dry oatmeal does. I mean, does it just all kind of go away?
Yes, great question. Thanks for asking. So yeah, I thought the same thing, right? I thought that it was going to be super gross. It was going to be it was going to be hard as far as the actual oats were concerned. I thought the protein powder would mix in. However, I was surprised to find that all that is absorbed by the oats and the protein powder. So it makes this kind of nice pudding gel situation, and then it has fruit in there. So it's a really kind of good, easy dish, easy to eat, easy to digest option for breakfast. I really enjoy it. I probably cycle through it at least once a month. I'll do my protein overnight oats.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Stephanie, I was going to ask Stephanie about those. You say ultra pasteurized milk. Is there a particular brand?
The one that Noah just mentioned, that Fairlife brand, is kind of the most common. I saw that Sprouts and Whole Foods might actually be making their own, like their 365 brand. So just look for ultra pasteurized, and that should mean that most of the lactose is removed. YQ is Yoplait, and they make a yogurt that is ultra pasteurized, and it's very high in protein and very low in sugar as well.
So you get all the other benefits of the milk except for the lactose.
Absolutely, the calcium and some of the things that we don't get in a lot of other food sources of why dairy is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey Noah, can I ask a quick question? It may not be quick.
No worries.
What's the difference in whey protein versus like the other types of protein powders and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So whey protein specifically is it's a byproduct of cheese. So it does have some of that lactose in there. So whey protein is kind of that kind of pinnacle of protein powders, and then we'll kind of cascade down into the other ones. So also what can be made out of this byproduct is a casein protein, which casein protein is also a byproduct of cheese and milk production. With that specifically, it's designed as like a long-lasting kind of protein. So those two are kind of the standard proteins. Now there is one that is pasteurized or sent through another process called whey protein isolate, which it goes through another kind of heat process like we do with pasteurizing milk, and it removes the lactose and galactose out of the protein completely. So there is no hint. It's really designed for people that, you know, have a hard time digesting whey protein because of the lactose that's in there. It's a pretty common issue for people as far as consuming protein powders. That's why I typically recommend, when I recommend taking a protein powder, it's a whey protein isolate. Typically a little bit more expensive, more of that 75 cents per serving versus the 50 cents per serving, but it is a little bit easier on the GI tract. I personally have an issue with whey. That's why I do recommend the whey isolate. From there, though, they do have other proteins that are like vegetarian proteins. So these are pretty much, a lot of them are pea protein or hemp protein. So with that, the biggest thing I want to note with that is there's a little bit of a texture difference. So you did get that creamier kind of, not as milky, not as creamy of a texture. You get kind of like I said, that creamier taste and the texture. But I have had some companies that are decent at it too. And so I would recommend those to somebody that's definitely plant-based or trying to go more plant-based, or that does not tolerate whey or whey isolate or casein or any of those, would be the route. So it's typically more expensive as well. So it's kind of a last resort as far as protein suggestions would go. But yeah, I would probably try a whey isolate would be your first bet.
So what is the protein that's in like our shakes through MediFast?
I'm pretty sure that they are whey protein.
Just straight whey protein, not the isolate.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure.
I thought it was isolate.
Is it isolate? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typical. Like the Quest bar is the same situation. The Think Thin bar is the same situation. It's pretty much the predominant source of protein for just about everything.
Noah, can you touch upon the latest trend of collagen? People are putting that in as their peptide or amino acid type thing.
Yeah, so collagen is, definitely. Let's start with this. The research is still needed for collagen. The idea is that it's great for like hair, skin, nails, and joints. However, the research it's still a little bit behind. We still need a little bit more before we can confirm saying that's true or not. And at this point, it's a very expensive source of protein. It's great for coffee. Like if you want to throw it in coffee, virtually no taste. It gives you about an extra 10 grams of protein. However, it is pretty pricey. It's definitely closer to that $1.25 per serving for that collagen peptide blend. I think Vital Protein has one. There's a couple other. Whole Foods has a couple different brands. But bang for your buck, I think you're better off with doing a whey protein or like the OptiFast, which that's what they are. So I would say sticking with those is probably a little bit of a better bet. A little bit more bang for your buck, a little bit more utility, I think, personally. Any other question, folks? Okay, cool. So the last one that I'm going to do is actually going to be my afternoon snack today too, but we're going to do a Greek yogurt parfait. So this one, I've made it so that you kind of have to make it at home. So it might be something that, might be a good thing to try while you're kind of at home. So what I like to do is, I brought these up yesterday as an idea for snacks, but they're the Okio Greek yogurts. So these are essentially 15 grams of protein. They use sugar alcohol to sweeten them. With this one, I specifically got the triple berry. So with this, what I like to do is, because I'm pretty much only getting protein here, so we picked our protein, now we have to choose our carb and find our fat. So with these specifically Greek yogurts that I buy, I typically try and find the 0 sugar and then the 0 fat. And then I like to add what I want to do in there. So for my carb today, I'm doing raspberries and blueberries. And then for my fat, I'm doing some more of the almonds. I like a little crunch in my yogurt. I think that it's just so satisfying. So I'm going with some almonds for my fat in this source. So for this guy, I'm just gonna bust this guy open. Pretty quick, pretty easy, but however, I mean, you have to have access to a fridge for the berries and the yogurt. So it might be something that might be like more or less for like that weekend breakfast or breakfast where you'll be at home. Personally, these are only 100 calories. So I am trying to shoot closer to that 300 calorie range. So I'm actually gonna do 2 of these. So it's gonna give me 200 calories and about 30 grams of protein. So we'll do 2 of these guys in here. And let's see here. There are a ton of other Greek yogurt companies as well. There's the Fage or Fage. I don't think I'll ever pronounce that one right. I don't think anyone knows how to pronounce that, to be honest. I don't even think the owner does. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and add my carbs to my Greek yogurt. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my fat in. And boom, I have a solid little snack here. And we're gonna go over the macros real quick of this guy. So this guy is about 327 calories, right around 34 grams of protein. We're going at about 24 carbohydrate and 7 grams of fat. So it's perfect. It's right within our limits. You know, Stephanie was mentioning about 30 grams of carbohydrate. We're right at that 24.5, so about 25 grams, 30 grams of protein. Really setting us up for our day. Really setting us up pretty quick, pretty easy. As you saw, it took me about a minute to assemble, if that. So, I mean, it is pretty easy, but like I said, now I have a bowl in front of me. I have to kind of sit down and eat. It's not very like convenient to take like the other 2 options that I showed you. So this is kind of a little bit more time intensive as far as the eating is concerned, but I still think pretty fast, pretty easy for that one. So let's open up. I wanna get some questions. Do we have questions on like yogurts, yogurt brand? What are we normally doing for our yogurt brands?
Yeah, pop in the chat. Oikos, Terry uses Oikos. Our family uses Chobani.
Chobani, I love Chobani.
Mm-hmm.
Do we normally do the flavored ones, or do we go for the plain, 2% or non-fat? How are we choosing the actual yogurt itself? Do we like the fruit inside, or do we like to add it on the side?
We have been choosing the plain non-fat Greek yogurt these days and adding just a few berries on the side.
Yeah,
to get a little bit of
great
flavor.
way to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a great way to do it. Cool. So if we got no more questions on that, like I said, there's Chobani, there is the Fage, there is the Okio, there's the 000. Yoplait, yeah, I think that YQ is the Yoplait version of Greek yogurt that Stephanie was mentioning earlier. So yeah, that's a great one. So when we're looking at that yogurt, the idea is fit vanilla. Perfect. Awesome. I missed that last question. Someone mind mentioning some of the questions for me?
Nicole asked, what about honey for sweetener in plain Greek yogurt?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're choosing our carb. So if that's what you want your carb to be. So here's a little acronym that I also like to use with that idea, right? So instead of doubling down on anything, right? So I like to use a dress up analogy. So we've got our shirt, which is our carbohydrate. We got our pants, which are our protein. And we've got our shoes, which are our fat, right? So we're not gonna put 2 pairs of shoes on. So we're not gonna add 2 fats. We might put 2 shirts on, but chances are we're most likely gonna put 1 shirt on. And so we're not gonna double down on carbohydrates. So if we're gonna choose honey, instead of doing berries or instead of doing a piece of fruit with it, so just choose and pair that carb with it. So, and then of course, we're not gonna, put anything on twice. We might have a jacket or something at some point, but there's no analogy for that one.
And it looks like Margaret uses the Damon Light and Fit vanilla, and then Stephanie does Light and Fit vanilla with 1 tablespoon of PB2.
Ooh,
that
PB2
sounds
is a
good.
great way to flavor yogurt. Absolutely. I love doing that. Absolutely. Okay, so I have one last demonstration, and this is for that person, you know, it was a crazy week, you know, you ran out of food, it's a Thursday, you don't have anything prepped, and we just need some kind of insurance in the house to make sure that we're ready for the day, and that we are able to take our breakfast with us. So just, these are things that kind of keep circulating in the house. And so the thing that I want to show is just, it's pretty much a ready-to-drink protein shake. I use the Orgain protein shake. So about 140 calories, 20 grams of protein, quick, easy, ready to roll. And I have a apple with it and a pre-portioned thing of nut butter, peanut butter. So this little meal is something that you can have as kind of, like I said, that insurance. Like, things happen, lives happens, groceries run out. I highly recommend just having, you know, a case of these in the house, or a case of something like it, some OptiFast shakes, or some sort of protein source that you can grab quick, easy, and ready to roll. Meanwhile, having some of these pre-portioned packages help us with serving sizes as well. So these are a great tool for people. I know that I'm guilty of it all the time, finding myself in the peanut butter jar at 11 o'clock at night when I shouldn't be. Like, that's it. It happens to all of us. So, so the pre-portioned package, I think these are awesome. Great tool. And then finally, some fruit, having some fruit around. So that way, what did we do? Picked our protein, chose our carb, and then we found our fat. Again, with that, we're all set. There was four total recipes that we went over today. I'll make some recipes for the Facebook. So do pay attention to the Facebook over the upcoming week. Other than that, do we have any questions? We can open the doors completely at this point, or we can talk about the meal that I just showed you, that kind of fast one as well. So any questions, folks?
This was a great talk, Noah. I really appreciate it. You know, I, again, kind of want to emphasize you can have a lot of fun with this, but it also, as you can see, it's super quick. But really, again, the most important thing that I want you guys to take away from this is it controls your hunger. I know that that's probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with when it comes to like losing weight, and just, you know, obviously we're stressed out and you know, makes us want to eat. But when you start your day strategically in this manner, and you really get all of those hormone signals to tell you feel full, believe it or not, you can push your mind to focus on something else when you are not feeling that hunger sensation. So this was a great demonstration. I'm so glad that you decided to pick breakfast, because I think that we are all guilty, especially as just Americans, just literally a very grab and go and out the door type of thing, that we're probably missing the most important step of the day.
Absolutely. And I wanted to add one more thing. I just wanted to, you know, you don't have to come up with it right now, but if you guys have any suggestions on things that you guys want to see in the kitchen, how, I was thinking kind of, you know, for next week and the following week, any suggestions on things that you guys would like to see me go over? Like, what are the things that you're struggling with for your meal prep? Where, you know, are we strapped for time? Do we need recipes that are, you know, time efficient? Do we need to figure out how to increase vegetable intake? How do we meet, like Stephanie was saying the other day, how do we meet our vegetable requirement of that 5 to 7 cups per day? So, you know, think about some things. Start commenting in the Facebook feed or on the Facebook page. If you have any suggestions for me that you'd like to see, please, I would love to hear it, and I'd love the direction.
Yeah, we just got a few more questions. Penny asked, what should we look for in a pre-packaged protein shake?
I would look at specifically, first, I would look at, is it something that I can tolerate? So like we were talking about earlier, is it something that my belly does well with? So it might be a few trial and errors for a few different companies, but what I would look for is something that is predominantly a whey protein isolate, or something along those lines. I would also look for roughly between 120 to 160 calories. So these would include things like Premier Protein Ready to Drink, the Orgain Ready to Drink, both of which are sold at Walmart and King Soopers. I would probably avoid things like muscle milk. They tend to be a little bit higher in calories, and they're closer to that 210 to 250. They typically have a little fat and carb in them. They're a little bit better tasting, but not really ideal for what we're looking for. So I'd probably recommend A, whey protein isolate, B, something in that 100 to 150 calorie range, and C, 24 grams of protein is what I'd probably recommend.
Yep. And Penny asked, is Premier Protein a good brand as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Premier Protein is a great brand. Yeah, that's what this guy is actually. So I do like it. It does really well with my belly too. So, and then there's also options like we were, we have options through the office as well where we can do, protein shakes. And so those are an option that you do have through MedFit as well. So definitely reach out if that's something you'd like to get. You can get a box of those too. There's 4 in them. They're right in that perfect range as well. So you don't really have to go searching anywhere. We do have them as well. So do take that into consideration.
Yep. And remember, everybody, one of my favorite sayings I give to everybody is look at the label and look for double-digit protein, single-digit sugar. Perfect. So the protein needs to be 10 grams or more, and then the sugar needs to be 9 grams or less. And you would be amazed at the entire aisle of different protein bars and shakes, and who breaks the rules and who keeps the rules. Absolutely. So see beyond the cute name brands, look beyond the labels, because some of these Cliff bars or Kind bars and just they sound healthy. And I even saw one that was Life Choice, and it's like super cheap and easy to grab, but it had like 25 grams of sugar, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's almost like a deception on the aisle. So yeah, double-digit protein, single-digit sugar. Make sure you guys follow that generic rule. So awesome.
Do we have any other questions, Dr. Tran?
No, I think we're good. So you guys are amazing. Looks like, yep, Nicole, we will help you with meal prepping. We'll put that into sort of our repertoire in the master class. But that's a great topic for us to add into the mix. But you guys are doing amazing. And like I said, keep giving us more of topics that you want. Take advantage of this just fun quarantine time where we all get to stay at home together so that we can literally give you the absolute best from us. And again, spread the word. We are, believe it or not, we've actually, I don't know if you guys been following us on social media, but we've actually recorded one of our best weight loss months in the history of MedFit, because our patients are doing so well in spite of just kind of the challenges. So I know that you guys know someone who's struggling out there. So, make sure you send them to denverweightlossclinic.com. We are hosting virtual and phone call consultations, and then you guys do get referral rewards. So start, collecting those referral rewards. So when we get back on, then we can start, getting back together in the office and really pushing forward. So you guys are awesome. And thank you so much again, Noah. We really appreciate it. Word of knowledge. So, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow at 11. It'll be a fun just celebration Q&A with yours truly. And you guys have an amazing day. And we'll see you again same time tomorrow. All right. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.